Hello everybody, welcome back. Let me just check to see if that's working. Alright, sorry about that. Right, let's have a look at some of these charts then, shall we? We'll start off with Bitcoin because that's the big boy at the moment, the main player, and it's broke that 10,000, which is pretty impressive. But I'm thinking it's likely to come back down underneath 10,000 again. But it's we're trending up. There's no question about it. We're looking to sort of push our way closer to that 11 to 12,000 area, and I know that sounds mad, but that's basically what we're looking at doing. So it didn't seem all that long ago really that we were down talking about breaking below 6,000. So yeah, it's just the way it rolls. So what I've got here is I've put in a pitchfork tool on the daily here, which is showing some kind of relevance, but it's a little sloppy, a little messy, but it's showing a little bit of something. Okay, so what we're doing at the moment, it would appear, is that we're struggling to break out of the central fork of this pitchfork. It's always going to be uptrending, and we're looking like we're being supported at the center of the fork, which is good. It means that we're nicely bullish. We're not overextending. We're not overreaching. It's a nice, healthy, and definitely profitable climb up the ladder, but it gives us a rough idea of where we're likely to come down for supports, really, because like I say, it's a little messy, it's not perfect, but we are hitting support and resistances within these areas. So I'm going to hold a little bit of weight behind this pitchfork, but a lot of the time I do find that pitchforks suit what it is that you want to see, because obviously you draw it in. So it does look like there is something behind it, but at the same time I'm not married to it. So given the fact that I'm using this pitchfork at the moment, and it looks as though we're stuck trending upwards in the central trend, in the central fork that would be of this trend, I think that by tomorrow we're having a rejection from the top of the center of the middle center of the fork here. So we're finding our first rejection at that point there. That's fine, but if we do come down, we're probably only going to come down, I think, now to the center of the fork, which, if this would be tomorrow, the center of the fork would be around about 9,950 roughly. Specifically it's 9,930. So if that's the area of support that we're going to be getting, that's fine, because we're trending up. What I was going to say on top of that, though, is that yes, we've got golden crosses on simples and on exponentials, so it looks like we're still going to be trending all the way up. That's fine. Coming down below this fork here would bring us down to the bottom line, beneath it here, which is going to be all the way down at 9,620. Basically as of tomorrow, but it's all moving up, so these supports will be getting higher every day, as are the resistances. So it's a bullish trend. The RSI is poking a little bit, rearing its head up here on the daily. That's no big deal, but this gives me another reason why I'm likely to be saying that I'm more inclined to say that the pullback will be just below 10,000 to maybe 9,900-ish area, but we're going to be getting bought back up because we're clearly in an uptrend here. And breaking above this, if we do break out of this, that would be great. And then our rejection point will be around about here, about 10,500 would say. That would be 10,500 for basically today and tomorrow, thereabouts. It looks as though, let's work this out. So that's today's, and that would be tomorrow's. So it's around roughly about $50 a day at the moment that this incremental trend is going up by both supports and resistances, if that makes sense to you. So tomorrow the support and resistance will be $50 more than it was the day before, and so on and so on and so on, roughly speaking. But we do have, like I say, different areas of resistance and different areas of support on this uptrend in itself. That said, if we come up to this area here where this top of this wick came, that's 10,400. That would coincide roughly that if we did overreach and come up to this, it's roughly going to be rejected at that point. Breaking out of these, because obviously the trend is not going to stay in here forever, breaking out of these one way or another would signify sort of a major bearish or major bullish move. But for the moment we're the center of the trend, and that's fine. So where's this going to take us with the rest of these coins? Right, so if you remember my Telegram group, you know that I have been trading with Ethereum for probably about a month now. Just holding it really, because why wouldn't you? I mean, look at this chart, it's a great chart to hold, so I've been holding it. I am anticipating a pullback now, which obviously the pullback's happening as I'm making the video, so it doesn't make me sound like I'm obviously calling the obvious here, but I'm thinking that the pullback could be a little nastier than, not nasty, but a little bit bigger than a lot of us expected. So there's a few targets here for a pullback. The first area would be around about, just around about, and this would be unlikely. I think it's going to go lower than this, but basically $220. That's a first stop, because this is where our tops were here. I think that's our first stop. I think it's more likely to come a lot further down, maybe to around about 212. And worst case scenario would be all the way down to maybe just above $200. So I'm holding out really to see if something like that does play out. I'm not rushing into trades at the moment. I've basically sold up everything as of this morning. I thought that was a pretty good area to sell, and obviously we are going to get a golden cross here on the exponentials on the daily here, which is an extremely bullish sign. So what I would like to see with Ethereum, considering that the RSI is so high and everything is so high, I would like to actually see a decent pullback into these areas, maybe down to, ideally, $200 would be great. I mean, I'll be buying it all back at that price and just riding up the next wave. But it has to pull back really. I think it's overextended. Let's have a look at the way that the dailies looked in the past on this. So we're more extended now than we were making those moves at the beginning. Well, say in April, May of last year. We've only had RSI higher than where we are right now, pretty much as it was launching up these big bold moves with the rest of the market really. So it's time for it to come down a little bit. It has to come down for it to continue with its major bull run, which is pretty much what it's planning on doing this year. I think Ethereum is going to be one of the better coins to be holding for the majority of the year, or at least until summertime. So yeah, a pullback is welcomed for Ethereum, and those are my targets. Ideally, I would like to see it. Maybe I'd call it maybe about $205 or so, roughly speaking. But don't, like I say, I'm not a financial advisor, so it's not financial advice. But that's just my take on it. Now, I knew that Binance Coin was a bit of a sleeping giant, and it certainly proved itself today of that, up 10% more or less, without any golden crosses or anything like that. So it's a major play, and I had about 25% of my my portfolio has been in Binance Coin, and I intend to get back into it. But what a beast of a move it's had today. To be buying it up at this level, it's not really for me. Again, I'll be looking to wait for the market to pull back. But as Binance and Bitcoin seem to be a bit closely linked now, so that as far as the alts are concerned, the alts are being pulled back a little bit more. And judging by Ethereum, and Ethereum was down over Bitcoin today, showing that it's got a little bit tired. Bitcoin is reached that top there and wants to come down. So I think that Binance Coin is more or less trending with Bitcoin on steroids. It's a difficult one for me to chart this one out at this point now after a big move like that. I mean, look, we're quite overextended RSI and everything else, so I think that as bold and as big as this is, I think this will come down throughout the week. I think we'll see, we won't see it hold this value. I think we'll be coming down to around $22, maybe even as low as $20. But yeah, what a big bold move we've had from Binance Coin. I wouldn't be expecting to see any more gains on this one, unless of course Bitcoin does the opposite of what I'm thinking. And again, my anticipation is for it to go down. Let's get this straight. But if we break out of here, then it brings us up to this level. So I'm not bearish. I'm short-term bearish. Within a 24 or 48-hour period, I'm bearish. Bullish is what I am overall, which is why we've got a big bullish trend. So just bear that in mind. For the people are going to comment on this and say, what the fuck are you talking about? Blah 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 blah. Look, I'm talking about a pullback. I'm not talking about a retracement. I'm talking about a pullback. I am bullish. Let's get that straight. I am definitely bullish, but I'm talking about a pullback at the moment, so I can then buy everything back. I'm not bearish. Just bear that in mind. So with XRP is well, underperforming as we're used to really with XRP, very much in the same way as Ethereum moves. We're getting the same kind of staggered move, but it's a little choppier and messier. You can see a lot of these wicks are being rejected all the way up. I think there's a lot of uncertainty with XRP. There's a lot of people that want to buy it, hold it, believe in it, the XRP army and everyone like that. But just looking at the chart here, it's bullish. Clearly, it's bullish, but it's there's a lot of wicks. It's very spiky, and it's very much like a bed of nails, which basically you could look at that in two ways. First of all, I mean, we're right at the top of the Bollinger Band, being rejected from the top of that Bollinger Band. That's fine. We're still a couple of weeks away, it looks here, from having our golden cross, and that golden cross, we'll probably have pumped before that golden cross takes place. So I'm looking for areas of around about 30 to as much as 33. Where was that wick there? 32.5. So yeah, roughly between there. Maybe 32.5 we'll call it, but it might overshoot. There will be my next big targets. Okay, but again, I'm waiting for this one to pull back. Same deal as Ethereum, we're waiting for it to pull back. Same deal as Bitcoin, we're waiting for all of these things to pull back. The RSI is overextended, it's not such a big deal. The daily, obviously, if we pull back and don't pump as a result of that quick pullback, we will get a negative cross on there. But generally, all these charts are looking bullish. Okay, so if you're looking to buy tokens and hold on to them for a period of months, I'm sure you'll do very well. And margin trading right now, I'm not, I wouldn't dare short now. It's the opposite of what we were doing all the way back here. You wouldn't be wanting to go long on it when you realised it was on a downtrend. You only want to be doing the shorts, and now that we're on an uptrend, you don't really want to be doing the shorts. You only really want to be placing the longs. So you wait for the pullbacks, you place the longs, or you buy your tokens. That's the deal we're in at the moment. Shorting is for, well, I suppose people who've got a lot of time on their hands and can afford to sit at a computer all day and wait for tops. I mean, if you're looking to be a casual trader, armchair trader, or whatever you want to call it, we don't have that kind of luxury. So we wait for pullbacks and then we buy our tokens, or we go long on margins with low leverage. And we wait for those to play out. We're not top dogs on this channel. But we do like to have an edge over what we're doing. So that's what I would say. It's the same thing with Ethereum. We're waiting for it to pull back to a reasonable target. And the targets I would set for XRP wouldn't be that low, in all fairness. First target would be around about 26.5 cents. 26.5 cents or just above, maybe we call it 27 flat to start with. Would be our first target, 27 cents. If that breaks down, it's not such a big deal. We could be coming down by incremental steps of around about half a cent. It depends how violent the pullback is over Bitcoin, but I do think that at this point what we're going to start to see is a lot more interest in Bitcoin. So people are going to be buying Bitcoin, and it's going to be Bitcoin that's going to be making some of these big moves. And I think with things like XRP, they've got a few more big moves left in them. Definitely, but they're not going to trend with Bitcoin. So I think a lot of the money is going to go back into Bitcoin now that people have seen that it's broken 10,000. This pullback is going to hurt a few people getting involved now, because I think now's the time. There'll be a pullback involved, and then the bounce from that pullback will basically launch Bitcoin into doing its big moves, and the dominance will increase, and alts will move up, but they won't suffer. Because they'll be gaining in their actual value. But when we're talking about dominance, it means, generally speaking, we've got maybe a few more weeks left of alts making decent rallies, really good rallies, and maybe in about a month or 6 weeks from now, dominance will be quite high, and it'll be Bitcoin that takes the lead. That's how I'm seeing this. I'm kind of foreseeing that. So anyway, that's my deal with XRP. Those are my targets to the up. Those are my targets to the down. And I'm waiting for this pullback to kick in. Matic, the messiest thing I've ever seen, but I cannot take my eyes off it because it's, I've made a lot of money on Matic. You could call it luck, but this trade was a lot easier than most trades. This trade at the moment is looking a little messy. So let's see if we can make heads or tails of this. Okay, so we'll try and match this out on a pitchfork. We'll do it from this candle, okay, and see if there's anything that comes out of this. It's going to be very early. No, don't like it. Okay, Matic can't really be traded properly. It's not really a chart that has any kind of cycle going on in it. It kind of looks like some old platform game on a Spectrum or something like that, with these hills and troughs and stuff. It just looks like a real mess. But there's definitely money to be made because the volume is there. It's got a lot of volume in it. The RSI says it's got plenty of room to move, and we're still playing out a golden cross that we had over here, despite obviously this craziness here. So technically speaking, we are still in bullish territory, and we've got room to move. Look at our MACD; it's all the way down here. Look at how high it's been in the past; it's all the way down here, just above the 0 point. There is a bit of bearish divergence on it, but ever so slightly. I think this has got more room to move. It's not wanting to go with the rest of the market as such. It's got its own thing going on, so I want to keep my eye close on it. The fact is we're above 2 cent, which is good. That's bullish to me. And what I really would like to see is an accumulation zone within this area from here to here. This is what I was saying last year when I saw us break the 2 cent area. Unfortunately for me, we didn't have that accumulation, and what happened was this parabolic move similar to this one. And everyone knows when you go parabolic, you basically drop off a cliff at the end, which is what happened here. This dropping off was horrendous in comparison to this one. This is what you'd expect to see off a true parabolic move, all the way down and consolidate for a long period of time. This one was basically shorted. We couldn't short back here. We shorted this time. I didn't personally, but people have that ability to short now, which makes the drops steeper than they've ever been. It's technically a small cap coin still, even though it's moving its way up the chart. So, it technically is a small cap coin. So, there are people who can become Matic whales with obviously quite a significant amount of money, but nowhere near as much as it would take to be a whale in any of these other coins. So there's a lot of weight behind these kind of moves. So, if you're a whale, fair play to you. That is your deal. I've got nothing against you. You can move a market. Why wouldn't you do that if you have that kind of power? It just makes it a little harder for people like me to trade it, that's all. Because you can do things that I cannot foresee. People on my channel, we did call the top on this. So most of the people I know on my Telegram group did get out at this level, and I got out at this level, so I did extremely well buying it down here and getting it up there. But a lot of people didn't, clearly. So all I'm saying is that this one, I do love Matic. What I would like to see is for us to play or grow within this range and not break out of 2.7 cent, and preferably too fast. I think given the nature of the market and the way that the market looks like it wants to move at the moment, I think that this accumulation period is going to be non-existent, and I'll give it to the end of this cloud here, which will be the 25th of February, before it actually starts to make its really big moves. If it makes its big moves before then, I'm not going to get involved. It would be similar to this. I think what we'll start to see is, even though this was a big move, technically our wick was higher than that, even though our candle bodies were higher. So I think that when we're talking about Matic on its next run, it'll be very telling to see if we break these highs, because technically these highs were ever so slightly lower than these, even though these are candle bodies and I hold more weight to those. Technically it wasn't an all-time high. So if we do make a move like this and we break down before here, then I think we're going to start to see a cycle and a pattern here. And it'll be an unhealthy, messy one of that. So similar to how Dogecoin looks, if you look at Dogecoin on a long period of time, what you see is big pumps, dumps, and then a big pump but not quite as big as the previous one, and a dump, and then so on and so on and so on. So that's basically what we start to see with some of these coins. That is their cycle. And even though you can get involved in that cycle and make a lot of money on that cycle, it's not healthy for the growth of the coin overall. Right, and we'll just finish off with one then, shall we? So one's been making moves, definitely. A lot of people follow this coin and enjoy the fundamental aspect to this coin, but for me it's all about the chart, and the chart looks very much like all the other IEO coins. I never really looked at them other than today, but you look at Seller, you look at One, and you look at FET, All the coins that basically came out on the Binance Launchpad, apart from Matic, but even Matic, are doing the same kind of thing. Their charts are almost identical in a way of recent times, and what they all have is this period of accumulation that takes 6 to 8 weeks, and then we start to see big moves, and they're all doing the same thing. So fundamentally, you can talk about one having amazing technology. I don't think the technology's got much to do with the growth of the coin at the moment. I think what we're seeing now is a resurgence in IEO coins, as we're seeing a resurgence in the market in general, and this one isn't going to be doing any bigger moves than anything else, and if they do, it's just marginal. It just means that more people have decided to trade this one than the other ones, but the charts are looking identical. But let's just look at one as it stands. We have an upwards trending support, which are way above at the moment. We're being held above the 10 and the 10 simple and the 9 EMA, that's bullish. That's really bullish to be held up on those trend lines, on those moving averages. That would be is pretty much as bullish as you can get. Now, what we don't have is we don't have any golden crosses or anything like that. Let's go to a smaller time frame, see what we've got there. We will probably have them, I would expect to see on this. Yeah, so we got golden crosses all the way back here. So yeah, that has been playing out since then. And let's go to a 12-hour. We won't have it on that. But we're getting close. We're not too far. So a 12-hour will kick in at this point. From what it looks like to me, probably within a 2-week period, we'll have a golden cross on the 12-hourly. The daily is quite far away from having a golden cross, and RSI is a little overstretched and needs to come back down. But the chart in general looks pretty good, and I won't call you an idiot if you want to get involved in something like this. So I'm not a financial advisor. It's not financial advice. This chart does look good. It definitely does look good. The accumulation period looks good. The only thing I don't like is the volume, which is very, very low. But, and there's a few other things I would say, is that unlike Matic, it's not available for margin trading, which means that the manipulation of this, or the whales doing their thing, will be a lot less than that of Matic. So yes, there will be big pumps, as you see here, and big dumps, which you saw here, but there won't be as vicious and nasty and horrendous as they would be on something like Matic, which also like I say, which has that option to leverage trade it, which means that there's incentive for it to go down. Financial, literally, incentive for people to short that, and there's obviously that takes a little bit of weight off a coin like this. So it will grow, and it looks like it's going to continue to grow. And I would expect to probably see more rejection on this, as we've had rejection on it twice, which is the 200 simple. We've been rejected there twice these last couple of days. Probably get rejected there again. Breaking above there, I don't see a problem with us riding our way all the way up to 810. Which is kind of where these wicks were, so 810, 800 or thereabouts. So it does look good. So like I say, you're not an idiot for getting involved in this one. This one could do some really big moves. Definitely could do some big moves. The chart looks good, but again, this chart is the same as Seller and FET, and in many ways Matic. So but it's not doing its own thing. It's very much doing the thing of the Binance IEOs. They're doing their own little trend, they're doing their own little thing. So right, so I'm going to leave it with you there. It's just a quick video, quick roundup, and I hope you had a good weekend, everybody, and thanks for watching my videos, and hopefully I'll get a chance to do some more videos tomorrow. Anyway, take it easy. Thanks for watching.